Spoken and Broken English by George Bernard Shaw. Introduction about the author here. George Bernard Shaw is a well known writer. He was also a powerful public speaker, essayist, and critic. He prepared and spoke on the topic Spoken English and Broken English on a gramophone recording for the Lingua Phone Institute. In his speech, the provocative ideas are couched in a simple but sparkling rhetorical style. It discusses at length with apt examples how English is spoken by different native speakers and also by the same speaker in different contexts. The essay ends with some practical suggestions to foreign users of English. The style is simple but marked with rhetoric. So here, when we talk about George Bernard Shaw, he is a well-known writer and essayist, speaker, critic as well, and he has brought English in a simple manner for the non-native speakers. Now, what is mean by non-native speakers? Non-native speakers means the people who do not belong to the English countries, those who prefer speaking English language. And as English being the international language, most part of the countries or most part of the world is very much influenced by English language. And it was a period where English was coming on to the global map as international language, and the people from different countries wanted to learn English in the native speakers, like native speakers do speak, the way they speak. And this was the period, or this was a time where George Bernard Shaw was a part of BBC, a member of British Broadcasting Council Corporation, as we say. Being the member of that committee, he was given the charge to bring out English in a simple manner so that the non-native speakers can put up themselves equally to the native speakers. So here I would like to say here a few examples when we talk about Telugu, for example. Telugu, suppose a foreigner really wants to learn Telugu and he has to learn like us, the way we speak Telugu as our mother tongue. Can the non-native speaker, like a person from America, if you take, really can he speak like us the way we speak Telugu? Is it that easy for him to talk or speak Telugu as fluent as English? Of course not. So this is what is discussed here by G.B. Shaw in the lesson, which is actually is a speech recorded for the non-native speaker on a gramophone, so that the doubts which generally come to the minds of the other people from British countries, apart from British countries, really face difficulty in speaking English in a fluent manner. So it was an attempt by G.B. Shaw to make it more clear and easy, and the way he explains that what is the difference and how it has to be presented by a non-native speaker when he talks or when he uses foreign language. Yeah, of course the fear always will be there in the minds of non-native speakers to be able to equally compete with the native speakers, but it is going to be a difficult one. But the way he explained in this essay, that is Spoken and Broken English, really makes us think twice that how and what is the right English exactly, is discussed by G.B. Shaw in a funny manner too. The way he cracks the jokes, rhetoric means in a funny manner, in an easy manner, and the way he has added those examples in the lesson really makes you really think of like how we really pretend to be the best speakers of that particular language, which is called as our native language. and which is for a non-native speaker is going to be always a foreign language. Yes. Now paragraph 1. From the paragraph 1, I have quoted here one example where a line which I felt like is important. Now whether you are a foreigner or a native, the first thing I must impress on you is that there is no such thing as ideally correct English. No two British subjects speak exactly alike. So what he's trying to explain here in this line is that when you travel to any foreign country, you definitely have a fear that how would I speak there? How would I communicate my ideas to the person? What is a basic use of any language is to communicate your message to the listener who is listening to you, and language is the bridge between a speaker and the listener. And when it is a foreign language, for a non-native speaker, it always going to be a task. So here what he says that now whether you are a foreigner or a native, suppose you are a foreigner in the sense when we travel to any America, we will become a foreigner, isn't it? Yes. Or a native, suppose you are living in the same country, then you become a native person. The first thing I must impress on you, the first thing I have to tell you, what is that? That there is no such thing as ideally correct English. You simply cannot say that this is what the correct English means. You cannot come out what this is what the correct English. So there is no such thing called correct English is said by whom? G.B. Shaw. So no two British subjects speak exactly alike. Subjects here, persons. He is using subjects as persons. So what he says that no two British subjects speak exactly alike. If you really take up any two people from different regions of British countries itself, if you really observe their language, which is English, which is their native and a mother tongue also you can call it as, where if you really listen to the two different people from different regions of that particular country, where English itself is their mother tongue, they don't speak exactly alike, do they? Of course not. For making it more clear, I would really quote an example here. Now, as we live in Telangana, yes, and our mother tongue is Telugu, right? And suppose if you really take two people from different regions of Telangana itself, like for example Adilabad, if you take a person from Nirmal or some part of this Adilabad and a person from Warangal or Nalgonda or any other region, that corner, and just ask them to speak on a same topic or a same thing, you give them a same topic and ask them to speak in their own way, then you will find that there is a lot of variation. Yes, they do speak the same language which is called Telugu, which is their own mother tongue, which is the native language of that particular region, but still you will find there is lot of variation. So you can relate this example with the line which is quoted here by G.B. Shaw, that no two British subjects, like no two people from Telangana itself cannot speak alike. Yes, do they? Like a person from Nirmal or a person from Mehboob Nagar or a person from Nalgonda or a person from any other region, if you really ask him to speak, he may not match in the style, he may not match with the manner. So that is where when it comes to English too, you don't find that this is what the correct English. So the two people never speak alike. They have all the variations, and that is what said by G.B. Shaw in this line. Second paragraph, I was selected for the service on the committee because as a writer of plays, I am accustomed to superintend their rehearsals and to listen critically to the way in which they are spoken by actors who are by profession trained speakers, being myself a public speaker of long experience. Now see, I'll repeat and read the line again. I was, now who is this I here? G.B. Shaw. I was selected for service on the committee. Now what is that committee? BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. Yes, the committee. Because as a writer of plays, okay, GB Shaw was already a playwright, a public speaker, a critic, an essayist. He was already a known figure, and then when he became the part of the committee, that is BBC committee member, I am accustomed, like why he was selected for the committee. I am accustomed to superintend the rehearsal and to listen critically to the way in which they are spoken by actors who are by profession trained speakers. So being the writer of plays, he had the habit of listening to the speaking skills of the actors, and he had that inner talent to examine language in that way critically. So being having that quality in him, he was selected as a member of the committee, and which further he declared, like made it simple for the foreign learners who really feel like or who wish to learn English as their own language, just like Telugu. The way we speak Telugu fluently, without hesitation, without any kind of fear, yeah, we really wish to talk English too the same way. And that's where BBC, which is known as the, a kind of example which can be taken as for English learners of non-native areas. So this is what GB Shaw really tried to explain in this, as a part of the committee, as well as a speaker, as well as a writer, essayist, critic, that no two British peoples themselves never speak alike. Now look at advantages in learning to speak well. Now what are the advantages in learning to speak well? What he says, Bernard Shaw says that when we travel in the British Commonwealth or in America, or when we meet a native of these countries, we have to speak English for enough understanding. We have to speak English well for enough understanding. If we speak in a provincial, rural, okay, the meaning which I have quoted here in the bracket, provincial, rural, or Cockney, that is dialect of East London, it may prevent us from obtaining some employment which is open to those only speak what is correct English. I read again. Bernard Shaw says that when we travel in the British Commonwealth or in America, yeah, it was during 18th or around that year when English was coming out to the global map, and Britishers had colonies everywhere, all throughout the globe. Most part of the globe was under their control. So when they wanted to teach the foreign learners, like the people apart from England or apart from America, when they wanted to learn, now the learning skill has to be understood first, right? So here what GB Shaw says, that when we travel in the British Commonwealth, like you can say Scotland, Ireland, Welsh, all these part come under that British colonies, British islands as we say, or in America, or when we meet a native of these countries, we have to speak English well for enough understanding. In order to make them understand, we have to speak very perfectly. We feel that, right? If we speak in a provincial, rural, okay, or Cockney, or a dialect of East London, it may prevent us from obtaining some employment which is open to those only speak what is correct English. Now, as just now we had a discussion over Telugu, like if you really take two people from different regions of Telangana itself, they never speak the same language. Now for example, if you take up any person from Hyderabad who is born and brought up there in the same area, will have a style of speaking in a different way, right? And when you compare your slang and your command, your communication skills with the person who is born and brought up in Hyderabad, will differ a lot, Yes, and that's where we get confused. What is the correct English? Okay, what is the correct Telugu then? Or if you really take, what is that correct, we can say. You cannot say that this is correct because he is born and brought up in that area. He has that skills of talking or speaking skills. And when you are born in a rural area, in a remote area, yes, so you have a different command over that particular language, which is common. A person who speaks from Hyderabad or a person who speaks from any part of other rural area from Telangana also speaks the Telugu, but the influence of that particular area has a lot of. And that's where, you know, when you go for any interviews or when you attend any kind of job, you know, when you attempt job interviews, that's where that really, you know, speaking skills are tested. Advantages of learning at that point are understood by the speakers, is what said by GB Shaw. No such thing ideally correct English. Now just now we had the discussion previously, again we'll repeat now here. No two British subjects speak exactly alike. Of course, we just agreed on this note that no two people from British will not speak the same way. Yes, a Scottish will speak in a Scottish manner, like Welsh, a person from Welsh, a person from America will have his own style. Even educated persons, the poet laureate and trained speakers do not pronounce of the simplest, commonest words in the English language exactly alike. Even the educated people, like poet laureate, trained speakers, do not pronounce some of the simplest, commonest words in English language exactly alike. Okay, they do not speak. For example, if you take yes, when we say yes, yes, the same yes is said differently by Americans. They say yeah, like yeah, yes. They don't stress on that yes, you know, which shows a politeness or which shows more formal, whereas Americans have informal style of speaking where they say yeah, simply yeah, that's it. Yes, members of the committee who are selected as models of correct speech speak differently. They differ according to the country in which they were born. Of course, members of the committee who are selected as models of correct speech speak differently. So as BBC had a committee where all the members were selected, you know, GB Shaw being from Ireland, he had Irish touch of English, where some people were from America and some from Oxford, some from Welsh and Scotland and etc. So all the speakers, all the committee members used to speak in a different manner, right? They differ according to the country. So the country they belong to, they had that accent, they had that influence of that region. Okay, we can relate this one again with our Telugu language. When it comes to Telugu, yes, Telugu, we see the people who belong to different regions have different slang and different touch of accent to their language, which is commonly known as Telugu for every one of us. Yes, but they have the variations because they belong to that particular region. Now a person from Nalgonda, a person from Mehboob Nagar, or a person from Adilabad, or a person from Nizamabad district will not speak alike. They have different words for the same, you know, object. So that is what the variations are always there, no matter it is English or no matter any other language that you take up. So all things are, there is no such called correct English, which is declared by whom? GB Shaw. Shaw was selected for the service. Paragraph 3 now here, key lines. The committee has members like Irish, just now we discussed, Scottish, American, Welsh, Oxford University members, all recognizable as such by their differences of speech. Yeah, how do we identify that he is from America? The accent that is used by him. He is from Welsh, the way he, you know, uses his style. Yes, all that shows that he belongs to that region. They differ also according to the country in which they were born. Definitely, that really will have that influence on their speaking style. Now, as they all speak differently, it is nonsense to say that they all speak presentably, and that if you speak as they do, you will be understood in any English speaking country and accepted as a person of good social standing. For the moment, I am afraid you must put up with me, an Irishman. Yes. Now, as they all speak differently, it is nonsense to say that they all speak presentably. Yes. Now, being the committee members of BBC, as there are Scottish, American, Welsh, Oxford, yes, Irish, so they have different accents and different variations in their own language, which is known as English. So you cannot simply say that go with this style, because Irish will say that why his style then? You have to accept my style. Or the other person will say no, this is not the right style, you have to follow my style. So there is always a variation, no matter it is the same language called which is English, but the person who belongs to that region will have that influence. Now for example, if we form a committee, yes, like to make up out to tell the other people who want to learn Telugu, NRIs for example, those who live or those who are born in other countries as a part of India, but they don't know how to speak Telugu now because they are born and brought up in that region. So you form a committee where you select a person from Nizamabad, a person from Adilabad, a person from Mehboob Nagar, a person from other district. Now you form them as a committee and ask them to come out with a conclusion. What? That you have to bring out a kind of standard language which is called as Telugu. Now will they come out with a conclusion? Of course, it is going to be a difficult task for all of them, because a person from Nizamabad will say that my language is best, and a person from Mehboob Nagar will say that mine is more better than yours. So every one of us feel that we are best. Yes, my language is best, but it is not like that. We belong to that region, so we have that influence. So we cannot say that his language is not good or my language is best, the best. So that's why here what G.B. Shaw says that you will be understood any English speaking country and accepted as a person of good social standing. If you really could try to convey your meaning through your language, no matter how you speak, but it should be a presentable one. Okay. For the moment, I am afraid you must put up with me, an Irishman. For a moment, you have to speak to me like an Irishman, because I belong to Ireland. Okay, Irish. I am an Irish. So I definitely will ask you to follow my style. So that is what. So there is no such language called presentable. Yeah, a correct one, as he says. Confession of Bernard Shaw. Bernard Shaw confesses that he himself does not speak English in the same way. When he speaks to audience, he speaks carefully. If he were to speak carefully to his wife at home, she would think he was going mad. As a public speaker, he has to take care that every word he says is heard distinctly at far end of large halls containing thousands of people. At home, he speaks to his wife like mumbling. His wife also a little careless, and so he sometimes has to say, "What?" Right? Now what Bernard Shaw says. Now as I have been talking that two British do not speak alike, that you may ask me that do I speak the same way everywhere? Now as a public speaker, Bernard Shaw says that I do not, because I have to use my style according to the audience that I address. Yes, suppose I am giving a speech to non-native speakers, then I have to be very clear, distinct, with a high-pitched manner. I have to speak to them so that they can follow my every word to word and understand and connect themselves with me. And when I do talk with my wife at home, I do not do the same thing. I might simply use a very low pitch, because she knows my style and she knows my personality. So that is where confession is done by Bernard Shaw. Now I would relate this one with me. Now, for example, being a teacher of English language, when I speak in the classroom, I notice that the students who sit in the classroom are from different region, and their level of understanding is always going to be different. So I have to maintain a pitch which is high and which is very clear, so that they catch me with every word. Yes, I have to insist or influence every word in such a way that they connect themselves with me through the speech. And I do that, yes, as a part of the class teacher. But do I do the same thing at home too? Or do I do the same thing with my friends when I speak? Of course not. I change my style. When I am speaking outside as a normal person, I have to use a different style. And when I am at home with my kids, I do some different skills, do follow some different skills. So as a teacher, I follow a different style. As a friend with my friends, I have a different style of speaking. So English itself, okay, or a Telugu itself has different variations, okay. Regions, not only the regions, when we speak a particular language with the person with whom you are speaking, you change again the style. Are you getting me? Now the style changes according to this listener. So you have to make sure that the listener is able to catch you or able to understand you, that what you are saying. So that's what said by here Bernard Shaw, that is G.B. Shaw, that when I speak at at a public, I have to use a very clear tone. But when I speak with my wife, I do not do that the same way as I do here. Para 7th here. We have company manners and home manners. Okay, we can say company manners, like when I speak in the classroom, I would say that these are company manners. Means I have to be very strict, I have to be very formal, I have to be very clear, I have to be very loud also to make everyone understand me. So this can be called as company manners. And home manners, now, which is apart from the class manners that I follow. When at home, I do use different style, and when I speak with my friends, of course that's going to be different style as well. So there are always the manners that we follow, company and home manners. If you were to call on a strange family and listen through the keyhole, not that I would suggest for a moment that you are capable of doing such a very unladylike and ungentlemanlike thing just for a few seconds to hear how a family speak when nobody else listening, and very differently they speak in your presence. The change would surprise you. Now here, what Shaw is saying here, insisting company and home manners. Now how he differentiates. Now for example, if you take up any family that you are very close acquainted with, now you would, I won't suggest, he says, I will not suggest you to do this one, but for your sake to understand the level of manners that we follow, suppose you are observing the family from out, okay, from a distance, you are following the skill of speaking in the house where there is no one. How do they speak? In a completely informal way. Yes, in completely informal way. And suddenly when you enter the house, you will find that they change the style. They come to the formal style. Yeah, do they? Of course, every one of us do that. When we are speaking in the house with our close acquaintance or with our close friends, we have a different style of speaking. But suppose a guest comes in or unexpected person enters the house, we change the style for them. So this is what company manners and home manners are exactly. Advice to foreign students of English. What is said by G.B. Shaw here? Do not try to speak English perfectly, okay? Because native speakers of English won't understand. In London, 999 out of 1000 people not only speak bad English but speak even that very badly. No foreigner can ever stress the syllables and make the voice rise and fall in question and answer, assertion and denial. in refusal and consent, in enquiry or information, exactly as a native does. Therefore, the first thing they have to do is to speak with a strong foreign accent and speak broken English. Okay, so do not try to speak English perfectly because native speakers of the English won't understand. Now, suppose I have, like you, one of you have planned to travel to America or some other country of where English is their mother tongue. Now you might know few words or few things about English. So what do? You make use of those words and try to communicate your message. Really, don't you? Of course, to understand, make them understand what you are asking. But what G.B. Shaw says here is that when you are speaking to a foreigner, yes, foreigner in the sense when you are in America, yes, the native person who is a foreigner to you, and you are talking to him as a foreigner, right? You don't know English, but you are trying to speak in English. Then when you try to speak in very perfect English, will he be able to understand? No, because they themselves have never spoken English in a perfect manner. To make it more clear, I would really quote here example. Now Telugu, for example. Now if you really take anything such as the words which we use, for example, now water, like generally water, the word water has become a part of our life, that when we speak in the house we simply say give me water or water తీసుకురాని అంటుంటాం, right? But water ke real word, yes, in Telugu నిజంగా చెప్పాలి అంటే నీరు, నీళ్ళు or jalam, like so many words are there, right? If suppose you say in a pure Telugu, నాకు కొన్ని like నీరు కావాలి or something like that, if you really say in a pure Telugu, the people around you will really for a minute, what happened, are you gone mad? They won't understand, like suddenly why it's so pure, you're trying to pretend. Simply you say water, they'll understand. But if you say naku, neelu or something like that, they really will laugh at you. So when you are traveling to any foreign country, don't try to be so perfect, because they themselves never speak the language so perfectly. Yes, they themselves have forgotten what is perfect English or what is the best English, because they have broken it. For example, now we are like Triple IT is located in Basara. No, we say Basara, but the originally Basara's name is what is exactly Vasara. So if you say Vasara, what is Vasara, you will say it's unknown place, right? But when you say Basara, then it is accepted by every one of us, because we have brought the word into our life that we are unable to connect. Yes, so that is where when you try to speak very perfect, it's really going to be difficult for the other person to understand. You cannot make them understand, because every one of us always speak the broken one. But the only thing is that we use a confidence level and we use the accent to make it more clear for the other listener. 10th para now here. You may say that even if they do not speak English well themselves, they can at least understand it when it is well spoken. They can when the speaker is English, but when the speaker is a foreigner, the better he speaks, the harder it is to understand him. Now what he says, that you might get a doubt. Okay, suppose if I speak perfect English, they must understand, right? Because it is their mother tongue. Now I travel to England, yes, and I in the sense you, for example, any one of us travel to England and try to speak in that perfect language. They must understand, we might get the question. Of course they might understand, but when a person from that region itself speaks in a perfect language, they will understand. But a person from India travels to England and tries to speak in English in a perfect manner, will they understand? Of course not. It is going to be difficult task. Now, yes, now for example, an American person has come to our class now. Yes, and he wants to interact with all of you. Yes, and he has tried to learn Telugu just for that sake. He might have bought a book, learn Telugu in 30 days, and have prepared some sentences. Now imagine when he adds word to word from the book, copying, by hearting, following those words and putting up into a sentence and utters a sentence in the class. What will be our reaction? Yes, just because he is a foreigner, we might be curious to listen to him, but first of all we don't understand because his slang, his accent will be different. Yes, so when it is a foreigner who's trying to speak perfectly, it is always going to be difficult for the native speakers to understand. So never try to speak perfectly, which is an advice given by G.B. Shaw. Please Charing Cross. You will have no difficulty. Half dozen people will immediately overwhelm with you with directions. Now, for example, he says that you have gone to any area of England where you want to know an address. You Charing Cross, you say simply that word you use. People will rush up to tell you the direction. But if you say, excuse me, that I want to know like so and so, a gentleman, in such a way when you use, people may not notice you. They'll think that he's gone mad, he's a mad person, right? You're trying to be very polite and very stylish and very impressive way. So that is going to be it's not going to work out. For example, a foreigner who has got down at the station, yes, at Basara station, railway station, and he wants to come to IIIT. Yes, and he has never visited this place in his life, and where he might take up an auto rickshaw, and he'll go straight to the auto rickshaw, and he might think that he may not know English. So what he will do, he'll try to speak in Telugu. So instead of saying IIIT or RGUKT, something like that, he might say that Sanketika Vaidyanika Vishwavidyalayam నన్ను తీసుకెళ్తావా అని అన్నాడు అనుకోండి. ఎలా చూస్తారు మీరు? కింది నుండి పైకి ఇలా, అరే వీడు ఎక్కడి నుండి వచ్చాడబ్బా అని ఒక థాట్ వస్తుంది, రైట్? సో ఇఫ్ సింప్లీ హీ సేస్ IIIT or RGKT or IIT, different names which are given, then simply the auto rickshaw driver will bring him and drop him here. But instead of that, if you say, open the book and search all the words and what has to be said here, Sanketika Vaidyanika Vishwavidyalayam అని అనేలోపు అందరు పారిపోతారు, బికాస్ దే విల్ థింక్ దట్ హీ హ్యాస్ గాన్ మ్యాడ్, రైట్? సో దట్స్ వేర్ perfection or perfect language is always going to be difficult task for any one of us, because the region we live, the manner that we take up, whether it is office manner or company or home manners, or with whom we are speaking, is it with a child, with his elderly person, or in the office or at home, it differs. The language always varies, so that is where the variations are always there. Paragraph 12th one, key lines. Even among English people, to speak too well is a pedantic, over scrupulous affectation. In a foreigner, it is something worse than an affectation, pretentious. Just now, as I said that now a foreigner has got down and asking for the address of IIIT. So when he says that సాంకేతిక వైజ్ఞానిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయం ఎక్కడ అనేలోపు అందరూ కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయ్యి తను ఎక్కడి నుండో వచ్చినట్టున్నాడు, అదర్ ప్లానెట్ నుండి అనుకుంటున్నాడు, రైట్? బట్ సింపుల్ వేలో IIIT అని అన్నాడు అనుకో, జస్ట్ డైరెక్ట్లీ విల్ షో దట్ డైరెక్షన్. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓవర్ స్క్రూపులస్ అంటే బాగా నటిస్తున్నాడు, బాగా పర్ఫెక్ట్గా మాట్లాడడానికి ప్రయత్నిస్తున్నాడు. నీకు ఏమైంది ఈరోజు? లైక్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, 2 friends are there and suddenly you decide to speak in a pure and a formal manner, yes, with your friend, instead of like normal way, the way you speak with your friend, you use a different slang or different style of Telugu, yes, then he'll say that asal emaindi roju em kavali neeku, you're trying to impress me, right? So this is what the answer would be. Pretentious ante pretend chestunnau. What is the reason that he might ask, right? So that's where The manners really make you differ. The variations are always there, whether you are a native or a non-native, company or home manners, or you're at home, or all these things really will influence that speaking style. Now conclusion. Bernard Shaw criticizes that it is an insult to the native speaker of English who cannot understand his own language when it is too well spoken. Yes, of course, it is an insult. Yeah, native speaker of that English country itself cannot speak English well, perfect, because it is their own tongue, mother tongue. Yes, it is always a difficult for themselves to understand the pure type of style. Now, for example, Telugu, if we say, do we use always a pure Telugu? Do we? Of course not. I believe we have left long back. We have just transformed our language in such a way where most of English words are mixed up. Very much. There are many different words. For example, television. For example, what do we say? Television in Telugu? Yeah, Doordarshan or something like that. Okay. Yeah. Many words are there which are a part of our life, but we don't use today the original words of Telugu. So we ourselves have forgotten what is Telugu actually. Right? Do we really speak in Telugu, pure Telugu today? Of course not. We change. The variations are always there. When we speak in the class, we differently. When we speak with our parents, we speak in a different manner. When we speak with our friend, we speak in a different manner. And when we speak with a child, of course, we change our style again. So there are always the variations. It's not just English, but if you take any of the language that is spoken everywhere, has all these variations. So Bernard Shaw says that it is not always difficult. You may feel shy when you speak out, but don't feel, because we ourselves, being the natives of that country, do not speak perfectly. So for you, it is always going to be difficult, right? The non-native speakers, like the people away from, out of English countries. Happiness to be a few quotes that I have taken here. What is mean by what is the definition of happiness for G.B. Shaw? We have no more right to consume happiness without producing it than to consume wealth without producing it. Ageless wealth. What is that? We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. Thank you. So I believe we have discussed the lesson now. Just read the text thoroughly and listen to the video carefully and try to connect the lesson and the video and revise it. Thank you.